Now we get a chance to get to know Becky Thomas. I'm
Yep,
sorry.
that's right.
Becky Thomas with Incognitotes. Now, before you go, I just want to mention that there are a few rules with 1 Million Cups, but very few. One is you present for 6 minutes, and then we have 18 to 20 minutes of Q&A, and those are about the only rules. Right? And so we had two sort of rule breakers this morning, or expanders. Is Hobie everybody close your eyes? And so he didn't tell us about his business. He demonstrated what it does. And then Becky's stacking the cards in her favor. She's like, not only do you have coffee, we have something really nice you can put in it. Yeah, y'all relax. This is going to be fun. So I'm pleased to introduce Becky Thomas.
Thank you, Sid.
And Incognitotes.
Incognitotes, yes. Thank you. My name is Becky Thomas. I am a single mom, lover of life, and always trying to make it all happen. So, of course, I'd like a pair of UGG boots that I could put over my heels. I'd like a parking meter that would also take carousel coins. And I occasionally wanted to have a drink out of my purse. The latter was the most successful for me. And so, because of a group of women also combining mac and cheese and box wine, we had a club called Mac and Wine. And it was a group of moms that only found time to get together if we had our children. So vats of macaroni and cheese were cooking, and then we would have our box wine. Well, the group got so big that it felt we had to take it to a place that was a little bit more public, like the park. And I felt a little bit tacky carrying a box of wine there. So I took a plastic purse, cut a hole in it, took the bladder out of a box of wine, and I'm more of a duct tape and pocket knife kind of creator, and sort of makeshift this purse, which has now turned into the Incognitote. So here is the latest prototype, and forgive the prototype materials that I was given, but here we go with your purse that you can drink out of. It has all kinds of room up top. And again, this is why I had you guys sit close. It also comes with this little guy here. You take your cup out, unzip, and boom, you can tap drinks right out of your purse. So behind here, you set that down. Behind here is a refillable bladder. It holds 3 liters. I like to say comfortably 2.5 bottles of wine. The 4 bottles, it actually lots is a little bit much, but today I have water in it. It's also insulated. It goes the full length of the purse underneath. It holds up to 200 degrees, so if you're looking to put hot chocolate in it for your Christmas parade or the hockey game that's too cold to sit in the whole time, you can fit whatever product you want in it. Give it a little shake in there. And then maybe if you're going to a venue that doesn't agree with your choice of beverage, simply close that side up here. Put a couple of products of your choosing. And, and some are a little bit more frightful to the security guards than other. And zip it up, and sort of it empowers choice. So so what else can I say about it? This idea came upon me about 5 years ago, inspired by this group of women. I put it aside because I was pursuing a career in structure firefighting, and after 5 years of not getting hired by the city in rural fire, I decided that this was the route to go. So put my turnouts away after volunteering for a long time and decided that I would pursue this. And things started falling into place because my energy for it, there's just a lot of love that went into it every time, and people started to return that. I just recently, I guess it was last September, that I was awarded a patent for it. It's a design patent, which basically just covers the idea that somebody can't make something that looks like this with the same function. We'll see down the road how well it holds up. And I have since then acquired 2 partners in Portland, a partner in New York, and then just recently signed papers with an investor yesterday to make myself the CEO of my company, which I'm really excited about. We are launching a Kickstarter campaign next month. We're trying to just raise about $5,000 because part of the investors deal is to have us meet our Kickstarter campaign in order for us to get additional money from him. So we're going to be a little conservative on it and mostly use it as a marketing tool to get people to pre-order and establish a presence online. That's all I have, and we can just skip to questions since we're a little bit behind, if that works for everybody else. Any questions? Can I
Are you ready
go
for
that
questions?
route? Anybody?
Here we go. I'll start right.
Have you thought about an exit strategy, and if so, what is that?
Yes, there's definitely an exit idea. I don't know what that looks like yet. I suppose it depends on how quickly it becomes popular and what kind of attention we can attract for that. I don't necessarily, I'm not driven to own a purse company, so I have lots of other philanthropic things I would like to do. With that, along with the purse, I have also started to create some prototypes for a line of product, one that offers an oxygen tank. I'm also an EMT, and there's room for a regulator in this area here, so somebody with COPD can have their oxygen tank and regulator, and offers a bit more femininity for Nana, who might be afflicted with that. I also have 2 daughters who have started to be creative in their own way and come up with ideas for kids' lunch boxes where they can tap soup or anything super hot or drinks out of their lunchbox, and they don't have to have a separate water bottle. One for knitting, if anyone knits out there. So with that, I think once we figure out the marketing on those different products, that might make it more attractive for somebody to buy.
So are you planning to sell direct to consumer or wholesale?
Both. That's a part I'm not really that clear on. I'm hoping to get some windows of information from somebody that's worked with Amazon later today. That would be a great route. If people are interested in doing house parties, I know friends are like, oh, I've got 10 friends that'll buy them. Great, I'll send you 10. Yeah, and give you one for free, or working out something like that. Yeah, I'm like, the more the merrier. However we can get everyone involved.
You mentioned you have a couple partners in Oregon and one in New York, and then you received some financing. How did you find those partners, or how did they find you?
Right. Strangely, this magical place, W Chiropractic, where I met you, Sid, I think it's just showing the passion of my product and making it. Karen here, my good friend, I learned from you a long time ago, or 5 years ago now, just a way to introduce the product casually. And it's not really a product for me, it's just an extension of who I am. So just sharing as much as possible and seeing what happens. I haven't really been that intentional to be only knowing that that's what I've wanted, but not really sure how to get it.
What are you going to retail?
They're going to
wholesale?
sell for $89. That it pays for itself after 2 nights out, depending on how you use it. When I talk about empowering choice, I have product tested it at different venues around the country, really. Concerts, football games, airports. I definitely wouldn't market the airport part of it, but strangely it works. So I feel like it offers choice. It allows people to, make life a little bit more convenient and easy. I know that when I've even taken it out to a bar, I've filled it with ice water because it's like, God, you're gonna wait in line, and you're not gonna get attention for water. So even just getting a glass of wine or a beer or something, and just knowing you have your good liquid on you is a good way to go too.
So my second question is, would you talk a little bit about your manufacturing journey? Because I've watched this go from duct tape and a pocket knife to Alberton to China and all the hoops of being an entrepreneur who has this other piece, which is actually getting a product built that you can afford to sell.
Right. It has been a journey. I worked for the Montana Community Development Corporation, and through them I learned of BJM Industries, which is two ladies in Alberton, Montana, that are fantastic and have become like family to me, who helped me start creating a prototype 3.5 years ago. I would spend time with them, drive out there. I joked that they had dog labor because there'd be like 6 or 7 dogs roaming around the place. And so I'd take it back and forth to a point where we finally created a prototype that I felt comfortable taking to market. It costs about $65 to $70 just to make. And the quality is incredible, and they're so beautiful. And people, found enough interest in it to pay a pretty high price, but I wanted to be able to offer something more mainstream. And so through that development with different prototypes and selling a number of them, I just kind of looked on the internet one day and found a company called the Last U.S. Bag Company, and they're out of Vancouver, Washington. And so they have been the hub of the manufacturing. They have staff in Asia that we have now been working with to create more quantities. And thankfully, with my newest investor, I was able to put an order of 1,000 units in last week. So we're taking these babies to market. Yeah.
So I have one's like idea and then 2 questions. One, what is your like final bag? Like what material is it made out of?
It's similar to this, just a better quality. So it's going to look very similar to this. It's a faux leather.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then have you ever thought about making I have a 2-year-old. Have you ever thought about making like a diaper bag that looks more like a purse that could store breast milk in the bottom?
Yep, absolutely. And this plastic bag is of the quality that can hold breast milk. It can hold anything you can think of, and it's reusable, which is really nice too. Yes, we have. In fact, I already have a name for it. It's called the Mommy and Me. So it offers 2 spouts, one for you, one for them.
But you can also just use it as a cooler space.
Right.
Put your own bottle.
You can put your own bottle. You can put, right. And again, excuse the shoddy materials here. If you go to the office and you pack a lunch box and your purse separate, it affords that. If you're going to a buffet and you want to bring your own Tupperware, you can put that in your purse.
I like it.
I was at Who Hut for the first time. I'm like, what do you mean I have to eat all my food? So, yes, and it also has room for an ice pack. I've made daiquiris or just put apple juice in it and stuck a cold pack next to it, and it lasts a few hours. And I guess another thing, not everybody likes box wine, which is strange to me, but you can take your own wine and put it in the bag, and it affords the same simplicity of box wine with a bit more, precision to your flavor.
Right.
Yeah.
As a father of 4, I would have been very open to a diaper bag that also poured
Right.
wine, like breast milk, whatever.
I do have a
got my wine.
backpack version as well, like a sling style that's more gender neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. What are some of the other ideas? Because I really like that you're thinking, and you've already developed a lot more versatility than, hey, I can bring wine to a concert. But the oxygen was very intriguing,
Oxygen tank.
and it's a cooler. It's got a lot of applications.
It
What are some
does.
of the other ideas that go with that?
International travel, or just travel in general. A lot of people don't want to have their money exposed. You can stick it under there instead. Also, medication that needs to be insulated. So, working with people with diabetics that need their insulin shots. Anything. There's really a lot of potential here, I feel like. And our slogan is "Everybody has something to hide," with a little winky eye. And so I think it says that it doesn't have to be something that's sneaky. It's something that's just personal. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And you can help us learn how to get things through airport security. That's not a real question.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Have you had other women, like your friends, your group of moms, test your prototype out?
Yeah. So before I took it to market, I used it for 2 years. I even used one bladder for a year straight, just to mess around with it. I'd use fresh ones too, but just to see how long it would last, really. And yes, it was very functional. Most people that most people that have bought the older version and it kind of looked more like this. This is the same one, and then this has just like a box wine bladder in it. Oops. Most people felt like that wasn't their style, so they weren't. In fact, I had an older version that I let my friend borrow to the country concert last week, and she's like, I didn't take it because it didn't go with my outfit. And I'm not a purse carrier, so I think of something as function, but I think that more people will be interested because of the style factor. Yeah.
So a person buys the purse right out of the gate as a way of keeping their attachment to your company by selling the bladders additional. Because I'm assuming that if you have wine for one bladder, you won't want to put breast milk in that the next time.
Correct.
So is that something that would be a ongoing purchasing process for a consumer, and would that be something that you would offer from a direct consumer, or to keep your customers attached to your company?
Right. I feel like, yes, I think it's helpful, useful. I know I used one for you, wouldn't recommend it, but I needed to test the durability. And yes, it's going to come with 2 of the bladders, one for whatever you want to use them for. And then it'll also come with this collapsible cup. Then I hope to have a line of the plastic bags that'll be color-coded, possibly even working with, I don't know, different teams. Because the nature of it is to be discreet, I feel like maybe labeling the bags and putting some like cool logo on a team name, something like that from that route maybe. So I think that'll generate some sales that will continue to happen through, yeah.
Consider any liability issues that may be involved with this?
I feel like because my paid job right now is I'm a whiskey rep for my cousin's distillery in Ennis, Montana, which affords it pretty well. There are certain laws that the alcohol, if it's open at all, this would be considered an open container, would need to be in the trunk or back seat. Or you could just remove it from your purse while you're traveling and stick it in the back. I feel like because it's also can be used for any product and it is empowering choice, that people will make choices and those are their choices too.
How does it work with carbonated beverages?
It's medium. I feel like I've used cold smoke in it, and it works great. Just let a little of the air out for some, and that's not as carbonated, or it doesn't have as much fizz in the beer. Otherwise, yeah, just letting a little bit of air out before tapping it out of the beverage bag works. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I do have one more question. Sure. Do you have a vision of ever being on Shark Tank?
I actually auditioned for them about 2.5 years ago. I stood in line. Most fun I've had in line for 12 hours because I had the purse you could drink out of. So I just walked up and down and made friends. So yeah, it was a great time. I got in front of a 25-year-old intern that listened to me and is like, oh my God, I could totally take this to the Hollywood Bowl. And that's as far as it got. So however, I did meet a friend in line who had gotten a deal with Mark Cuban in season 3. Who we just made a really great connect. His name is Matt, and he has a product called Posture Now. And it turns out we use some of the same manufacturers and outside of Portland. So he's been a really good networking person for me. But as far as the Shark Tank part goes, he's almost steered me away from it. He's like, he made a lot of money just being on the show, and then has also had to give a lot up. Yeah.
So I know there was some questions about sort of that go-to-market strategy, and you've talked about potentially house parties versus direct and wholesale. I know that you have a current investor, and then like that idea around an exit strategy. When you think about the kind of business that you want, are you looking for like large, seed investment so that you're scalable quickly, or are you wanting to be able to Okay, so that answers my question. All right.
Let's take a lot of them, spread them all over, and move on to the next thing.
Back to the marketing and market penetration, is this the kind of thing that you could see like being sold in Costco's everywhere or like direct to consumer? You've got, this is your website and it's Amazon and people just hit it and you mail it.
I don't know the rules of that marketing strategies. Can you do both? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would like them to be in Costco. I would like thousands of them to be ordered and we not have to do any more door-to-door stuff. I like that part of it. But,
Right.
And your Portland partners know that piece.
They do, yes. They're a marketing branding team. So basically I give up 35% of my company to somebody who is going to do a lot of work who has done a lot of work for free for the last two years now. And so they have some connections with Costco, mostly in food products.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and this could be a broader question for everybody, but I wanted to ask how you see people respond to it when you tell somebody about it or they see it, like, here. I mean, a picture of it. Look, you can put wine in your purse. Does that gain traction, or is it mostly when you have it and you pass it around, people like see it and feel it, and then they're like, oh, I could really use this.
It definitely has the wow factor. In fact, I went with two of my best guy friends to a concert at the Gorge over Labor Day weekend, and there's this group of like really attractive girls, and they're like, "Oh, go show them your purse," and then they'll talk to us. So I go over and like, instantly, I've got like, 5 like gorgeous blonde women all, "Oh my God, you're so great!" Da, 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 da. And they're just like, "Oh, that totally failed. They'd rather talk to you." So yeah, it has a wow factor.
Okay, so we have time for one more question. Barrett? Yeah. It's over.
So what part of the product is your patent? And if it is a certain piece that is, would you license that portion to, say, like a existing branded bag manufacturer like Timbuktu, where they have a built-in customer base, and it's like, now we've got this added component?
Right. I have a design patent, and I could pursue a utility patent, which would allow me to sell that part of it, where it's like, no one's ever thought of this. You can never put a bag over a cooler. And so about 50% of the time, utility patents get granted. They're about $25,000. And I'm not ready to go down that route. I also feel like it can be done, but I think it's just about the go-to-market strategy, the story behind it, and the energy of the brand to really just make it the original.
Great, so I'll ask our 1 million cups question. That is, what can we as a community do for you? What would you like to see, or how can we help?
Well, if you like to have your beverage on you or know somebody who does and would find this useful, I have some little cards to remind you we're going to start a Kickstarter campaign next month. And if you want to hand those out and help spread the word, if anyone knows anybody in distribution, that would be really helpful as well. I have a great meeting with the Launchpad later today to hopefully sort of fill in some of those gaps as well.
Good.
Yes.
Does anyone know someone?
There's one more piece about your Kickstarter campaign, isn't it? For a certain amount, then you're pre-ordering a bag in the bag. So give us the enticement of
Sure.
participating in the
Right.
Kickstarter.
Yes. These are going to. I have an order of 1,000. They're going to be here in January. So in order to sort of get in on the first round, I'm using the Kickstarter campaign to get people on board to be a part of those first ones made. And there'll also be a reduction in price for those that participate early as well. And there'll be, if you're looking to give it to somebody for Christmas, we're going to get a way to get these little cups out, a little note that says, here's a part of your present, the best part's on its way. Yep.
Cool. Great.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
I don't even